Hey everyone, I'm Gonzo, and this is Mark, and today we want to talk about dangerous low-level monsters.
Alright, so, Gonzo, what do you mean by dangerous low-level monsters? Why would we talk about that?
Because we're sick of our players.
Sick of them.
We just want to destroy them.
Make them pay.
No, we both talked about coming up with, going through the monster manual. By the way, if you do not have a copy of D&D's monster manual, you've got to get yourself a copy of this. It is so invaluable, especially if you're trying to run the game as a dungeon master. As a player, it's fun to look through, and you maybe get some ideas to be a dungeon master. But as a dungeon master, it's page after page of inspiration.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we talked about coming up with some ideas of monsters that dungeon masters could use to challenge their low-level players, and we wanted to stay with low-level monsters, but more unique than just goblins, gelatinous cubes, and those kind of things. You know,
Absolutely.
some of the standard ones that every adventurer likes to use, and that people are pretty aware of what their immunities are and what their damage is and all that. So we came up with 5 different ones that were challenging to the point of maybe TPK. So let's talk about it. First one, I guess, will be animated objects.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I picked animated objects. There's 3 different in the monster manual. This is on page 20, I believe. And there's animated armor, flying sword, and rug of smothering. Now let me tell you about these and why they're interesting. The animated armor is just a tank.
Right.
And it's got a lot of hit points. Its armor class is 18. It gets a multi-attack, which does quite a bit of damage. So there's your tank.
Yeah.
Okay? And then your flying swords, for the simple fact that they're flying, that makes them harder to hit.
Right.
They are... They do some damage as well, and their armor class is 17. When you're first, second, or third level, that's a hard number to hit. 17, 18 is quite a bit.
Right.
And then that flying speed of 50 feet is really sweet. I mean, they can dart around the battlefield, hit and run kind of scenario. So these objects are created by an old magician or something like that, a crazy wizard, and they usually use them to protect something that they're trying to keep sacred or safe or something. So they animate these things. And then my favorite is the rug of smothering. Now we've used this before in our campaigns, and the best thing about them is just looks like a simple rug. It could look very expensive, so that the player's tempted to go look at it, or maybe it's just on the ground and they stand on it. Wraps around your character, and it begins a smothering effect. So the player that's caught in it is smothering and trying to break out. The only way to hurt it is to damage it.
Right.
But the problem that it has or gives is it has a damage transfer ability where when you hit it, the player that's wrapped in it also takes half that damage.
That is so nasty. So the person's like being smothered, dying inside there, losing their breath inside.
And all your best friends are beating on you.
They're beating on you. Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal right there.
So something else we wanted to do is give you a quick character or a player's hook or a dungeon master's hook to use this in your adventure. So I came up with one, and I wrote it down, so you'll have to excuse me, but I want to make sure I talked about it. But rumors of great magical treasures, maybe somewhere up in the hills, that most of the populace know about. And the crazy old wizard that's lived there for eons has seemingly passed away because now it's infested with goblins. Well, this rumor comes to your adventuring party, and being low level, you're looking for magical treasures all the time. Right. So it's more apt than not that you're willing to go and take a stab at these lowly goblins that you can wipe out.
No biggie.
Your group goes through, dispatches of the goblins easily, maybe disarms a few, traps, that kind of thing.
Piece of cake.
They open a door. There is a nice, beautiful set of armor up against the wall where it should be. A couple swords up against the wall look really nice. There's a chest in the middle with some coins in it.
I like that.
And, a beautiful rug hanging on the wall, or maybe in front of the chest.
Sounds great.
What are your players going to do? Well, maybe one of them smart enough to think, that's probably a mimic. That chest cannot be this, So they may be cautiously working their way around. But
it's probably got a trap in it or something.
Yeah. So right away, as a dungeon master, you have a lot of options. You can wait till they trigger something. Yeah. You can wait till they go for the gold and then animate the rug, have the swords come at them while a tank of armor. I mean, it's pretty deadly for a CR. I think it's CR 2 for these.
That's crazy.
Yeah, CR2 for this rug and CR1 for the armor and 1/4 for the flying sword. I mean,
so everything in the room could kill you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was one that was a little more unique and maybe not as often used that I thought about. What about you? What'd you come up with?
Yeah, I would say so. The white came to mind. WIGHT. The white.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful how we say that. So white is it. This is something you may not be on your radar, but it's an undead creature. But this creature has been created by
What page is that?
That's page 300.
300. Okay.
So this is an undead creature that's been created by some evil, again, these evil wizards or the evil necromancer, powerful necromancer has created this thing, and it is it's relentless. But what really attracted me to this one is it has some really unusual things for such a low level, and this is CR3, and this is really low.
That's crazy, yeah.
But and the hit points it's got 45 hit points.
It's not too bad. Yeah, 4 or 5 characters, they're not scared of that.
Yeah, you look at in the armor classes, 14. Okay, it really doesn't sound all that bad.
Yeah.
But then you start looking at the damage resistance. It's resistant to necrotic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks not made with silvered weapons. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
So the weapons need to be silvered to even affect it, right? So that's rough.
Yeah,
now,
short of knowing that they're going after werewolves, why would anyone have
exactly
silvered weapons? Yeah.
So, but really, then it gets better. So under its actions, it has multi-attack. Okay, so that's bad. All right, it has 2 longsword attacks, and it can use a drain life ability. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So the life drain, not only does it suck the life out of them, but it lowers their hit point threshold. So their hit point, the max hit points they have, becomes lower. Well, it's until they get a long rest.
Okay.
So
for the day, yeah.
Yeah. So let's say it gets if they have.
So let's say they're 3rd level characters, they have 23 hit points or something.
23 hit points. They take 1 hit, and hit might be what is it? I don't know what the hit points are. Anyway, it hits it, and plus 4 to hit, and it does anywhere from it could be 8, up to 8 points necrotic damage. Bam. But then it drops their maximum hit points down, and once those maximum hit points hit 0, they're dead. They're done.
Yeah.
And then it gets better. What? So let's say they die,
and there's more.
And within 24 hours, if they don't res that person somehow, that person now becomes a minion of the white. So it becomes their undead servant. So that's bad. So it's like it's just the gift that keeps on giving, it's why. But what I think would be neat to use this is tie it into like the backstory of a player. At some point the player's probably crossed someone along the line, and this thing has been sent to kill them because it says it's relentless. It doesn't have to sleep, it doesn't have to take a rest. It just keeps coming, and so it's like that would be a neat thing to be chasing them at some point. And like all of this sudden, this thing comes out. It could be that they crossed the necromancer that created this thing.
Yeah.
Or somebody paid someone to send it after him.
Yeah. So it doesn't even have to be someone's personal backstory, but it could be something that the party did.
Yeah.
While adventuring.
Exactly.
That turned this thing
could
on
be
its
from
tail.
the past. Could be like right now, just more recent past. They did something to take it off. So that's the white. So
okay.
All right.
All right. So the next one we picked was Carrion Crawler, and I like that you tied that into backstory. Anytime you get an opportunity to tie any challenge that the players go through to their backstory in some way, whether it's the adventurers as a group's backstory or one of their personal backstories, that always makes it more engaging for the players and the dungeon master.
So what's another one?
Well, the Carrion Crawler. That's on page 37 of your players. Let me show you the player's handbook. Like that. Yeah,
Monster manual?
I said player's handbook. Monster manual.
Monster manual?
Page 37.
You mean like this one?
Yeah, like that one. So, players, the Carrion Crawler. This thing is a beast. Now, it's got a lot of hit points, over 50, and its armor class is only 13, not a big deal. But what I like about it is it has permanent spider climb. And they live in subterranean, dark areas. So it's a perfect opportunity to be able to drop in on somebody because they can be overhead when people aren't looking for them.
Right.
And they do a lot of damage, including they have a paralyzing tentacle attack. That if you don't make your saving throw, you're paralyzed for a round or 2 or whatever.
Yeah, so that'd be rough for a low level.
You have 1 or 2 of these, and they start making those paralyzing tentacle attacks.
Right.
And a couple of your players go down, or including your tanks or whatever. it could really add up quick to a quick TPK if you're not careful.
Rough.
And they just look like a common monster, so you would be, unless your players really know the lore about these things, they could really just go right after them and not realize what they're getting into.
Right.
I think again, tying into the backstory would be good, and the story hook I thought about with them was maybe one of your characters has a distant family member, a cousin or something, come up and beg them for help, beg your whole party for help, and they say, look, little Timmy and
little Timmy fell down a well.
Yeah, basically, is missing. He went up in the woods and we don't know where he is, but we're hoping he's not in these caves of chaos up there or whatever.
Not.
Yeah, so of course your adventuring party says, well, go get him.
We got it.
Go on in, and as you clear through there and looking for them, these things drop in on you as you get past them. So unless you can spot them somehow, they would get a couple attacks in, plus start paralyzing. Really good, challenging, quick little thing you could throw in any dungeon, but these would be great to tie into a character's backstory as well.
So I think one that would be really tough would be a rust monster. And rust monsters are interesting. They look kind of like giant fleas, depending on how they're drawn. There's all different art forms, but a lot of times they look like a big giant flea-looking thing. And so if you imagine, you see this in the distance, you come into a dungeon or a subterranean tunnel. You're down in there, and you see these things like, oh, look at those cute little, really big flea things, and they got antenna, and all of a sudden they start making a beeline for the party, but they go right past the mage, and they go right past the ranger, and they can make a beeline right for the paladin or the fighter, and they start attacking them because they're attracted to metal. They're called rust monsters because they destroy metal. They're attracted to it, and they want to destroy it, and so they have these ability that, of course, they attack people and they do damage to people, yes. But they also deteriorate the metal on people, so it could destroy their the loot that they have. It could destroy their armor, thereby adjusting their armor class, take away their weapons.
Very underrated, the rust monster. Those things can, especially again for low level
challenge level 1/2
for these.
Yeah.
So they're saying a first level character could take on 2 at once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would recommend at least 3. Yeah.
Gosh, you could.
Just because
you could flood the whole place. No, I think their lore is that they travel in small packs, but definitely challenging. If you lose your weapon or your armor, then what are you? Especially if you're a fighter or a paladin or something. like that.
Typically the characters are worried about their hit points, and it's really not on their radar to worry about their treasure they're carrying, losing their armor class, and that's permanent. I mean, that's the thing until they go get it fixed. They lose the loot or whatever, so that just doesn't heal.
That's a bummer.
That doesn't heal. Yeah, it is bad. Yeah, so that's why we like it.
All right, cool. All right, and you could use that. You could drop that in any dungeon.
Oh, absolutely. And that's another thing. It's just multi-use. I mean, they typically are subterranean, so that means, drop them into a dungeon, drop them into a tunnel, into a cave that they go into, pretty deep cave, whatever. But, it's like, that's easy.
Great.
I mean, it's very multi-use.
Awesome. All right, and our 5th monster that we picked to challenge your low-level characters was a Displacer Beast. Now, these are creature level 3, so they're right at that cusp of where you don't want to get too much higher than that. Yeah. But they have a couple abilities that make them almost like trying to hit Nightcrawler from the X-Men, if you know who he is.
Yeah.
So they have an ability where they can, it's called Avoidance, and if they make a saving throw, they take no damage, or if they don't make it, they take half. And that's because they're kind of phasing in and out of the different planes, that the plane they come from to the material plane where they're at. They also, because of that same ability, they put you at disadvantage to hit, to attack them. So you have to roll 2 20s and take the lower score just to try to hit them.
That's right.
And on top of that, of course, they have these tentacle attacks that they multi-attack. So they do some damage. They have 85 hit points on average.
Oh, that's good.
With a 13 armor class. And their speed's 40 feet.
Oh, pretty
so
quick
they're bouncing around. Yeah, they are tough. I mean, you don't want a lot of these against any low-level party because they would... It'd probably be smart to get out of the way.
So we should put like 2 or 3 or 4 in there?
Yeah, we're sick of them.
Yeah,
we'll just get rid of these guys.
Yeah,
so they're definitely challenging.
With this
and, you could put these... In fact, these things kind of lie in wait, and they like to wait in trade routes and different things where there's a lot of motion or a lot of, activity. So that's what I would do is if you have, for a character hook, a good one would be, or at least one that I thought of, is that there's a very important trade route that goes through the woods, and the villagers come to your adventuring party and say, "Hey guys, we really need help. Something's happening. Our supply route, to the big city for all our necessary supplies has been cut off by something up there. So your party's going to go look for sure. And it doesn't matter if they're even getting ready for something malicious. These things are bad enough that it'd be hard to be ready for that. So.
That would be. Speaking of getting ready, if you like our videos, would you please subscribe? We like to have as many people subscribe as possible. If you like our videos, please like them. And hit the notification bell, and that lets you know anything that's coming up next. It'll give you a notice that we're having a new video.
Yeah, which happens. Happens a lot. And what we're hoping for more than anything is in the comment below, go through your monster manual and let us know some of the monsters that are challenging to your low-level characters as dungeon masters, but that maybe are a little more unique or not as often used. That's what we're looking for. You can throw 30 goblins at a group, that's challenging too. But we're looking for just unique monsters that really have something about them that just makes them different. So, all right, I think that's all we want to do today.
I think so. And with that,
class dismissed. They need to die. They show up with their magic +1 swords, +1 shields, and they destroy everything we built.
Hey!
Death traps. Dangerous monsters. Destroy them. I'm sick of it. I'm telling you, that's